Hey, what's happening, you cautious Caterpie? We've got some new cards revealed and one really big one I'm sure a lot of you have heard about. Let's jump into it though and break them all down. Starting up with this 70 HP Snorunt, which is an upgrade to the current Snorunt lineup. All of them have 60 HP, which double Monkey Dory, Dragapult Spread Attack. A lot of things take it out, which is pretty annoying. So having 70 HP on your Snowrunts will definitely be a nice improvement. Nothing too drastic, but something that could be an even bigger upgrade to your Frostlass decks is the new Mega Frostlass EX. 330 HP, Stage 1, Rebellion for a single water energy. This attack does 50 damage times the number of cards in your opponent's hand. So it's an interesting attack for sure. A lot of decks like to stack a lot of cards in their hands. So this could cause some interesting situations in the game. There are, of course, some ways to increase the amount of cards in your opponent's hands. There's a Chandelure, I think, that says both players draw a card. We're going to take a look at the Frostmoth here that was revealed in these cards as well that has a similar ability. So definitely an interesting card. A lot of potential damage from a single water energy. And then for water double colors, 150, your opponent's active is now asleep. Not quite as impressive. So it really is all about that first attack. So this could be an interesting inclusion in potentially like Grimmsnarl decks or like the Frostlass Monkey Dory Badoo deck. A one of Mega Frostlass doesn't seem terrible, or maybe it being a deck itself could also be something you do with this. Up next we got a Ends Vanillix line, starting with the Vanillite here. 60 HP, call for family. For colorless energy, search your deck for 2 basic Pokemon and put them onto your bench and shuffle your deck. Then we have the Ends Vanillish, the Sheer Cold for water double color, 60 damage. The defending Pokemon can't attack during your opponent's next turn. So pretty good so far for the stage 1 or for the basic in the stage 1. But then we get to the stage 2 and we're like, this isn't very good. And it's kind of unfortunate that the stage 1 and basic are so good. We've got the 2 colorless energy, Layered Snow. Place damage counters on your opponent's Pokemon until their damage is doubled. Water double colors 120. This attack does 10 damage to each of your opponent's benched Pokemon. Not great. Up next, we got the Snom here. Only 50 HP. I'm actually not sure if we have any other Snom legal in the format. This might just be the only one. And then Icicle Spear for a water does 20. And then now we have this Frostmoth here. Now, this is mistranslated here. The ability actually reads, once in your turn, if this Pokemon is in the active spot, each player draws a card. So this has obvious synergy with the Frostmoth, of course, or excuse me, the Frostlass, of course, forcing your opponent to draw more cards, meaning that you do more damage with your Frostlass. And then it's attack for 2 water energy, Cold Cycle, 90 damage. Move a water energy from this Pokemon to one of your benched Pokemon. But this is a really good candidate for the Surfing Beach Stadium that we just got in the previous set, where it says you can switch your active water Pokemon with one of your bench water Pokemon. And that would work really good. You promote a Frostlass after your opponent takes a knockout. You use Inviting Wing, you both draw a card. Then you use Surfing Beach, you switch to a new Frostmoth, you both draw a card. Then you Air Balloon Retreat into your Frostlass, and then you attack them, hopefully for a one-hit KO at that point. If you're not hitting them for a one-hit KO, you probably lost the game. I've already taken a look at Electros before. Go check out the previous new cards video that I released not that long ago if you want to check out my thoughts on all of these cards. But then, of course, we have the Ends Zekrom, which is the big new card that was revealed. 130 HP only, but of course, Ends Zoroark is going to be able to copy the attacks of Ends Zekrom, just like it does with all of the other Ends Pokemon. You could technically copy the attacks of Ends Vanillix with Ends Zoroark if you wanted to, but I wouldn't recommend that. But I would recommend copying Ends Zekrom's attacks. It's got the Shred for 3 colorless energy, does 70 damage. This attacks damage isn't affected by any effects on your opponent's active Pokemon. Not bad to have a Shred attack in your arsenal. And then the Rampaging Thunder. One of the things that I felt like Ends Zoroark deck was missing was just being able to hit hard enough. The deck usually had to kind of piece together KOs in the early game and then wait to close out stuff with like an Ursaluna or a Petron EX attack, or hoping your opponent maybe misstepped or overstepped and attacked into a Zoroark and then taking advantage of the Reshiram's very powerful Outrage attack. But now you can just do 250 damage, or you can get Mochi involved and do 290 damage, or you could get Black Belt's Trading involved, plus Binding Mochi, plus Petron to poison you involved, and then you're doing 330 damage. So that's pretty good. So huge buff for Ends Zoroark for sure. The deck will probably be playing 2 Ends Zekrom moving forward. You'll probably still play a Reshiram because being able to take advantage of your Outrage attack is very powerful, especially up against matchups like Dragapult, but I don't know. I could see you just playing 2 Zekrom, no Reshiram, because doing 250 damage and all the ways you can enhance it to even hit harder, it might be all you need. And we could even see the deck become more of like a turbo deck where you just play for big one-hit KOs back to back turns. You know, of course, you have the Ends PP up, so even if your End Zoroark gets KO'd, you can set up another End Zoroark on your next turn, no problem. Definitely going to be quite a more formidable deck in the future when we do get these cards. These cards will be releasing at the end of January. We should be getting them in our January set on January 30th. So that's when we'll be getting the End Zekrom and the Mega Frostlass and stuff like that. I'm not sure if Mega Dragonite is in that set. I think it is, but don't quote me on that. And then finally, there is a supporter card, which is a little bit of a gimmick. During this turn, if your opponent's active Pokemon is knocked out by damage from an attack from one of your End's Pokemon, you draw 3 extra prize cards, which seems great until you read the first part of the supporter, and it says you can only play this card if you have Ends Darmanitan, Ends Zoroark EX, Ends Reshiram, Ends Zekrom, Ends Klinklang, and Ends Vanillix in play. That's a lot of things you need that you probably can't be attacking with until the late game to then pull off that combo. Now, I did think about it a little bit harder, and I guess it would be like possible to take like a 1 prize knockout with a Zoroark, maybe with a brace on it, so that way it can't get KO'd, and then follow that up with a KO on like a Pheasantipity while you play this supporter, and then you could draw 5 prize cards to close out the game. So maybe there is like a little bit of hope for a possibility. I don't think it'll be competitive, but if you're looking for a challenge as far as that goes, if you're trying to challenge yourself to pull off a combination of the Pokemon TCG, this is about as hard as it gets, so give this a try when it drops. But that's it. That's all the new cards. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Did I miss any obvious combos? How good do you think Ends Zekrom will make Ends Zoroark? I think it'll probably be probably still be in the tier 2 to tier 1 range. It's been in that range for quite a while. Not often does it actually feel like it's a tier 1 play in any metagame. It usually sits at tier 2, but that's where it's been for quite a while. This could definitely push it into that tier 1 status, but I don't think we're looking at like the next Dragapult Dusknoir or next Gardevoir or anything like this. I don't think Ends Zekrom is going to take Ends Zoroark over the top. It'll now just kind of be more of a powerful deck instead of like a anti-meta deck where it's like it was only correct to play Zoroark when you could fit the tools into the deck to deal with the current metagame, and besides that, the deck just kind of struggled if the meta wasn't narrow enough or kind of focused enough on things that Ends could actually handle. Now that you have the Rampaging Thunder, you can kind of be the deck that maybe needs to be respected, but it doesn't put it over the top to the point where it's some kind of like broken BDIF or anything like that. So once again, let me know in the comment section down below, and I'll catch y'all in the next video.